boss who drilled this into our heads. And he encouraged us to remember 7 words. And I ask you, if you walk away with nothing else from this talk, memorize these 7 words. Never take any positive behavior for granted. Never take any positive behavior for granted. Because no matter how bad a situation is, it could always be worse. You have to grasp on what's going well in that situation and build on it. Most behavior occurs for a reason. Most misbehavior occurs for a reason. Our challenge in managing behavior is to figure out what that reason is. People do what they do because it makes sense. It's worked for them in the past. I heard this great analogy one time. I'd always heard all this training about, you have to have a 4-to-1 praise to consequence ratio. I'm not a numbers person. This didn't mean anything until somebody reframed it in an example. And they said, I want you to think about the behavior in your facilities as a healthy lawn. I said, what? A healthy lawn? Like the lawn in my backyard? I said, yeah, a healthy lawn. And I want you to think about those blades of grass as positive behaviors. And I want you to think about inappropriate behaviors as weeds. Now, there's 2 ways to get a healthy lawn in your backyard. One is to go out in the backyard and pull out every weed that you see, or those inappropriate behaviors. But what happens when you pull out the weeds? Not only do they come back, they bring their friends, right? The second way you get a healthy lawn is you nurture it, you water it, you cut it, you fertilize it. Because the goal is to build such a healthy base of positive behaviors or those good blades of grass that there's not as much room for the inappropriate stuff to occur. That's what made a difference for me. That 4-to-1 ratio, that 80% to 20% of positive interactions to correction. That's what made the difference for me. We have to avoid that urge to pull out the weeds because we'll never catch up. When I did a behavior management training in Missouri one time, a guy said, oh yeah, that's like when I go to the carnival and I play that game of whack-a-mole. I said, whack-a-mole? He's like, yeah, you know that game where all the little pegs come up? That's like inappropriate behavior. I use my heavy hammer and I just knock them out. But I never catch up. Same premise. We have to be careful to avoid that urge to bring out the heavy hammer, because it's not the heavy-handedness of an intervention that corrects behavior. It's consistency of response, it's immediacy of response that influences change. And one final thing about optimism. We should strive to see our kids as unique individuals. Find what's special about them. Latch onto that. Sometimes it's like finding a diamond in the rough, but it's there. Again, never take any positive behavior for granted. Things could always be worse. Our challenge is to start with the small things, reward them, and hope that they build towards something bigger.